back. It was coming, we knew it, and now it's here. US President Donald Trump has officially imposed a 26% reciprocal tariff on Indian exports. This isn't a surprise move, it's a strategic escalation, one that's been in the works for weeks. This is part of President Trump's global tariff regime aimed at correcting what he calls unfair trade practices. Sources in the Indian government has also responded, calling it a mixed bag, not a setback. So starting 5th of April, a universal 10% tariff kicks in on all imports into the US. And from the 10th of April, an additional 16% tariff applies to Indian goods, taking the total up to 26%. For now, the government is actively analyzing the impact of these tariffs on India's export economy. But sources have made it clear that this is not being viewed as a major economic blow, but as a situation that warrants measured response and continued engagement. The executive order claims India charges a 52% effective duty on US products, including tariffs, non-tariff barriers and currency issues. While making the tariff announcement, Donald Trump held up a chart in the Rose Garden and said something about Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well. What did he say? Listen in to find out. All right, we'll play out that reaction, but a lot of analysis talks taking place at the moment of what is going to be the impact of this tariff. We have some breaking inputs coming in as well. Let's take a look at how the government is viewing this. And I believe we have an official reaction coming in at the moment. India formally has reacted. This is the first government response on US tariffs. Commerce Department is examining the implications of this. So the government of India is saying we are engaged with the stakeholders. We are assessing feedback by key stakeholders on this issue. We have Rishabh who's getting us more details. So while the experts continue to say that this is not as bad, there's the first official response. The Commerce Department at the moment is analyzing the implications. Rishabh.
Engaging as well as analyzing the whole development that has happened overnight. India was getting a further reciprocal tariff, 27%, as per the new annexure that has come in the White House press commune. 27% of reciprocal tariff has been levied on India. Many experts say that it won't be that big an impact on Indian economy or Indian business. The government also say that we are looking into it. And when they say they are engaging with the United States, remember the first tranche of discussions between the interlocutors just concluded last week here in New Delhi. The next tranche will also begin in next 15-20 days. Mutually beneficial, as both the countries are calling it. BTA, bilateral trade agreement, is being worked upon. September or latest by October is when a BTA is being signed between India and US, is what both the countries believe right now. And hence India and Indian government hasn't been in panic mode. In last 2 months also, when we saw that there was, words coming in from various parts of the world, be it China, be it Canada, Mexico, European Union, Indian government did not react in that manner. Many suggested that things would be better, and now experts are seconding what the government of India have been saying for some few weeks and months as well. It now all depends on the way India and US will proceed with the BTA talks and how the bilateral trade agreement. Stay on with us.
Let's in fact go across to Meenakshi joining us from the newsroom with that complete statement, I believe. Yes, Meenakshi.
Well, yes, Swati. So without much ado, let's take our viewers through the formal and the first response which has come from the side of the Indian government far as the Trump tariffs are concerned. What does the Indian government say? This is the official communication which has been uploaded on the PIB website as well. So it basically talks first of all about the sort of reciprocal tariffs which have been imposed by the US. That's the sum and summation really of the first two paragraphs. And then here is the operative part where the Department of Commerce says that they are carefully examining the implications of the various measures, announcements which have been made by the President of the USA, and also says that keeping in view of the vision of Viksit Bharat, the department is engaged in talks with all the stakeholders. So talks are underway at the moment with Indian industry, exporters. Feedback is being taken, assessment of the tariffs, and the situation is also being done. Then the government official response basically says department is studying opportunities that possibly could arise due to the new development in the trade policy. Honorable Prime Minister of India, the Commerce Ministry in the response says that Narendra Modi and Donald Trump also had announced Mission 500 news, obviously, which I'm sure you remember we had broken on Times Now earlier, and talks about how discussions are ongoing between India and US for an expeditious conclusion of a mutually beneficial multi-sectoral bilateral trade agreement. Finally, going on to say how India values a comprehensive global strategic partnership with the US and they are committed to working closely with the US. So basically, in summation, Commerce Ministry looking really, at the implication, the tariffs, the modalities really very minutely. That's what, this communication says. And finally, going on to say that talks are underway with all the stakeholders.
All right, we have economist P.K. Vasu joining us on the broadcast. For first reaction on the formal statement, the formal reaction that has come in, the first from the Government of India saying we are assessing the situation at the moment, also going through the feedback that we've received from various stakeholders.
Yeah, I think this is a considered response. It is response. The U.S. has imposed tariffs on all its trading partners, minimum tariff of 10%. India's tariff is high at 26%, but much lower than the tariffs imposed on some of our key competitors. China is going to pay 54%. Vietnam is going to pay 46%, Cambodia 49%, Bangladesh 39%. So relative to that, India's tariff rates are much lower. These are competitor countries, so India is going to gain substantial cost competitiveness relative to Vietnam, China, Bangladesh, etc. And so this is potentially quite beneficial. And of course, India is in the process currently of negotiating a mutually beneficial trade agreement with the United States, and the strategic relationship with the U.S. remains robust. So under those circumstances, it makes sense for India to continue the negotiations and eventually reduce this rate. It will come down from 26%. But India will also have to make some accommodations for the U.S. It will have to allow some of our tariffs to come down. And if our average tariffs on U.S. products come down, including the perceived tariffs, I mean, we clearly don't charge 52%, but the perceived number of 52% has been derived from a variety of things. I think GST, subsidies on rice, etc. So whatever it is that the U.S. has put into that magic mix to come up with the 52% number, we will have a chance to negotiate with the U.S. We will reduce some of those.
Right. Well, that's exactly what
tariffs.
the official statement also says, that the discussions will continue. We'll continue to engage with them. And of course, we are in touch with the Trump administration. Thank you very much, Mr. Basu. We also have Ajay Dua, economist, joining us in the broadcast. Should we find solace and be relieved that it's not as bad if you compare it to other countries, or do you believe this is going to significantly impact us in the economy?
Thank you for asking me to join. I think it is both a bit of a sense of relief that we've not been levied a tariff which is as high as China,
all right,
Cambodia.
sir. Yes, I am interrupting you. I apologize for that. We have to cut live to Rajya Sabha where